Tensions between the United States and Iran continue to rage following the killing of General Qasem Soleimani. How might Iran respond, and can a crisis be avoided? And as China appoints a new director of the Hong Kong Liaison Office, can He Wenping help Hong Kong get back on track? Welcome to The Point, an opinion show coming to you live from Beijing. I'm Li Qiuyuan, sitting in for Liu Xin. General Qasem Soleimani, Iran's most powerful military general, was killed in an airstrike on Friday in the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. Soleimani was one of the most powerful figures in the Islamic Republic, and thousands packed the streets of Tehran on Monday to mourn the general's killing. Esmail Ghani, the Iranian general who will replace Soleimani as the head of the Quds Force, vowed revenge for the death of his predecessor. U.S. President Donald Trump did not consult Congress before making the strike, and it is also understood that he did not notify the U.S. military allies, including France and the United Kingdom. So were the president's actions permissible under the international law, and how might Iran respond? Well, joining me to discuss this are live from Tehran, Seyed Mostafa Khoshcheshm, and also a political analyst, and here in Beijing studio, Professor He Wenping, a senior research fellow at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Welcome to you both. So now Iran can declare that it won't abide by any of the constraints of the 2015 nuclear deal, which was already on a life support machine after Donald Trump withdrew back in 2018. Let me start with you, Professor Khoshcheshm. What steps might Iran take? Will it increase its uranium enrichment, for example? What can we expect?
Hello, and thanks for having me. Well, Iran has apparently a package for vengeance and for revenging the United States. You know, the U.S. assassination of Qasem Soleimani was a violation of international laws. Qasem Soleimani was there at the invitation of Iraq, a friendly nation, in order to help them with the fight against terrorism. And he was hunt down at a civilian infrastructure while he was not at all in a battlefront. So it was state-sponsored terrorism, an act of war, and a declaration of war on Iranian officials. That's what is widely believed by everyone in here. Therefore, Iranians believe that if they do not stand up to this bullying and this crime, then it will be repeated. And next time, maybe they would come to assassinate someone in Tehran. Therefore, Iran believes that it needs to send a very strong response and an act of reprisal as a deterrent in order to stop the United States bullying that is growing on a daily basis. This package that Iranians apparently have in mind comes in multiple stages, not only through military action, but through every other means, including the modification of the JCPOA undertakings, the nuclear deal undertakings. Also, on the political, diplomatic field, Iran believes that it would do whatever it could in order to raise the costs for the United States and anyone who helps the U.S. with its hostilities against Iran. In area of military action, there will be multiple stages. First, people in Iran and across the region in Iraq, in Lebanon and Syria, they are really furious, and apparently they would not wait for Iran's, plan or permission. They would strike at the U.S. Through every possible means, including the cyberspace. According to American media outlets, a number of websites have already been hacked. I don't know if they are right or wrong. This does not mean to confirm or reject this, but anyway, this has already started. But it will be followed, as Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of the Lebanese Hezbollah group, stated last night, with independent strikes by resistant groups in Lebanon, in Iraq, and elsewhere at the United States, independent from Iran. You know, the Iraqis have also been feeling insulted and humiliated. Their sovereignty has been violated because leaders and commanders of their own official armed forces have been taken down and assassinated by the U.S. In the last 8 days, the United States Army, that's a host, that's the guest of the Iraqi host, they have staged 3 rounds of assassinations and bombings and drone attacks on the official, Iraq's official armed forces. So they have vowed to take down the United States bases in there unless they leave the country. Last night, the parliament approved their expulsion. If they insist to stay, they have already warned that this would mean occupation. So they would go for striking the United States independent from Iran. But Iran's operation also would come next in multiple stages. That Iran has stressed that the ultimate goal and objective is ending the presence of the United States in the Middle East. And it's widely believed that the first step, the first operation, would be triggered in coming days in a way that it should, you know, draw attention of the world, and it should be explosive as the assassination of Qasem Soleimani was.
And amid all this, China backed Iran, saying that they have effectively been forced into a corner. So let's now take a listen to the statement from MOFA here in China. Have a listen.
我们认为，一方虽然由于外部因素。
We believe that although Iran has been forced to reduce its liability to the nuclear deal due to external factors, it is still showing restraint and has clearly expressed its political will to comprehensively implement the deal. Iran is not violating its obligation to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The US has unilaterally withdrawn from the nuclear deal, defying international law and its international responsibilities. The US has also exerted ultimate pressure on Iran and tried to prevent other parties from meeting their obligations. This is the primary cause of the Iran nuclear tensions.
So, Ms. He, let me bring you into this. What do you think of China's response? Do you think France, the UK, Russia, and other key players will be sympathetic to Iran backing away from the nuclear deal?
Oh yes, I think apart from this sympathetic, and also we also want this nuclear deal can be continued to push forward. As we all know, this nuclear deal has been signed in the year 2015, has been coming up as a result from all this multilateral diplomacy. It's not a deal just between the Iran and the United States. So even though the United States, under the Trump's leadership, has withdrawn from this nuclear deal, bilaterally, unilaterally, and also by the other those players, including China and Russia, and also UK and France and Germany, they all share the same, this opinion. That is, together with Iran, continue to implement this nuclear deal, and so make it, continue, push forward. No need saying just one USA dropped and then this nuclear deal has been dead already. So not that way. But now this time around, we know after this 1 year also, this coming, this very, very closer and closer, tougher and tougher the sanction imposed on Iran. And so Iran has, also lost its patience. So it has taken this step by step, this kind of measures to gradually not abide by those nuclear deal imposed on them. So we call it like a cutting sausage, part by part by part. So according to this procedure, it's coming up with another phase, that is number 5, the 5th measures that is going to completely not abide by this nuclear deal as a whole. So I think this is not a unilateral action by Iran. It's coming from those sanctions and given and by the United States, and also called ultimatum, this pressure, this kind of strategy. So especially plus this recent, this killing of Iranian very high-level general. So I think this is becoming another final push for Iran to make this decision. But we should also pay attention to another saying given by Iran Foreign Ministry. They are saying, we still want to talk with the other 5+1 about this nuclear deal. As long as the U.S. lift the sanction, the Iran will immediately back back to original starting point. That is, back to those nuclear deal, those measures they have to abide by. So they can go back. It's nothing irreversible. So they can come to the original point.
But why did President Donald Trump take this action at this specific moment? I mean, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that to not take out Soleimani would have been, quote, culpably negligent. The U.S. points the finger of blame at Iran and Soleimani for past and future threats, but was U.S. legitimately protecting its interests? Mr. Khoshcheshm, what do you think?
Let me bring in some, proof from the American officials. Ever since Donald Trump and his administration have raised the claim, nobody has bought his claim that there was an imminent threat to the lives of Americans in Iraq or the Middle East. Even the Democrats and others in the Congress, they've been questioning the veracity of Donald Trump's and reliability of Donald Trump's statement. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton leaked through his Twitter account that the assassination of the assassination plot of Qasem Soleimani was long in the making. You know, it's no secret that CIA and Mossad were after Qasem Soleimani for about 20 years. And let's remember that the other two entities and groups that were after Qasem Soleimani were Ayman al-Zawahiri, the leader of al-Qaeda, as well as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the ringleader of ISIL or Daesh. It's very telling and ironic somehow how the United States, that claims to be the head of anti-ISIL coalition, and also the opposite side, the ISIL, Daesh, they were both after Qasem Soleimani. Qasem Soleimani was recognized as the commander and leader of the fight against ISIL, the one that annihilated them. But it's a very major question why they hunt him down, probably because they want to resurrect Daesh in this part of the world again. But let me bring you the statements made by James Clapper, the former CIA chief. He mocks at Donald Trump's statement, saying a president who has always questioned the veracity, reliability, and validity of intelligence reports, claims now that he has made such a vital position that could push the United States and the whole world to the edge and into war with Iran based on an intelligence report. That's, a very telling fact. Let's remember that Donald Trump has long been facing problems. He has failed to score any kind of achievement in his foreign policy. He has withdrawn from Paris Climate Accord, NAFTA, and Iran nuclear deal. He's at a trade war with China, and also the U.S. Congress has been imposing sanctions against Russia. He has failed to score any kind of foreign policy achievement. He failed to push North Koreans into any kind of deal. Also, he failed to push Tehran into the negotiating table. He is suffering from impeachment back at home. It's widely believed that he's taken the risk in order to derail the public attention from his catastrophic failures at home and abroad in order to claim for the Americans that he has scored something in order to increase his chances in this year's presidential election.
Right. And now he's also making this tweet.
This is going to backfire if Iran plays well, because one of the strategic...
Right, and President Donald Trump now, in response to Iran's defiant declaration to seek revenge for Soleimani's killing, he tweeted that he has targeted 52 Iranian sites, some at a very high level, important to Iran and Iranian culture, and those targets and Iran itself will be hit very fast, very hard. That's his words. He later added at a press conference that they're allowed to torture and maim our people. They're allowed to use roadside bombs and blow up our people, and we're not allowed to touch their cultural sites. It doesn't work that way. So, Ms. Ho, how do you think of this kind of statement?
Well, I don't think this kind of statement has any logic or has any legitimacy, because if you're threatening to targeting other countries, especially those culture, heritage, I think, can you make any difference with that, like ISIL, like those terrorist group, like what happened in Afghanistan, in other countries? They, simply bring down those historical heritage, because those historical heritage, cultural heritage, that's the results coming from those thousand years, those human beings' civilization. That's the symbolic things for all the civilization has been built on from the thousand years. So you cannot be targeting to those cultural heritage. Yeah, as long as you can go to those like military sites or some military base. Yeah, that's a little bit rational for the two countries. You two countries are in the war. So targeting to culture sites or targeting to civilian people, that's totally unacceptable. So I think nowadays, yeah, I think some words coming from the mouth of the President Trump sometimes is, it's like by his instinct way. Yeah, when he himself coming down, and he maybe feel very regret of saying, maybe I choose the wrong words. I need to carefully think, have the second thought. Nowadays, I also heard some very high-level American, those officials, even congresspersons, senators, all has now criticized about Trump's this kind of words. Yeah, saying targeting to those cultural things. That's not a very logical and rational statement at all.
Targeting cultural sites is actually prohibited by international convention signed in Geneva at The Hague. We're going to have to leave it there. We're running out of time. Thank you very much, Seyed Mostafa Khoshcheshm, a political analyst, and also Professor He Wenping from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, joining us here in Beijing.